The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my own personal merch store, the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. I have hats, I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, water bottles, notebooks, you name it, I've got it. The description and the link for that will be in the description of this episode. Also, right now, if you use the promo code WELCOME, I will give you 5% off of your first purchase. That's the Stupid Should Hurt merch store. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link, Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans, as it is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. Now, let's start the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I got a great episode for us today, but first and foremost, a couple new sponsors we have to get in here. We've been talking about them a lot, and that is Buddy's Beard Care. Buddy's Beard Care provides premium men's grooming products at an affordable price. Products are made in Ohio, and Buddy's Beard Care supports local. The majority of their suppliers are from other Ohio-based companies. You can find them on social media at Buddy's Beard Care or online at buddysbeardcare.com. Use the promo code BONO15 and you will save 15%. I've been using these products for damn near 6 months now. They are probably the best beard care products out there. My beard has never felt healthier. It has never been growing faster. And according to my wife, it has never felt softer. Next on the list, we have Sweet Hands Sports from former guest of the show, Matt Landowski. You can elevate your game with Sweet Hands Sports. Our sports gloves are designed for champions, providing ultimate grip and durability. Achieve greatness with every match. Choose Sweet Hands Sports for the winning edge and grip your victory at sweethandsports.com. Use the promo code BONO10 and he's going to save you 10%. He's not just having batting gloves anymore. He just started golf gloves. He sent me a complimentary pair of golf gloves. Unfortunately, with my golf game, I don't think anything is going to help out my golf game, but it was the most comfortable glove that I've worn. Completely durable. I think this is a new glove for me. And last but not least, we did just land a brand new sponsor in Deemed Fit, first responder owned and operated company. It helps out first responders that were working throughout the pandemic and the COVID-19 pandemic. All of the proceeds go to help out with first responders and veterans' mental and physical health. This is a great cause, and I am completely behind it. I am wearing one of their hats now for everyone watching on Patreon and on YouTube. You can find them at deemedfit.co. Use the promo code Mike Bono, and you will save 20%. Feel like these promo reads are getting longer and longer as we go on through the show. Fully on board with it, but I have a great episode for us today. We have done an all things Cleveland and all things Pittsburgh, and now we got to show Youngstown some love here. So we're going to do all things Youngstown episode. I have a ragtag group of guests, all from the Youngstown area. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. A lot of former guests. They're going to tell you their name, what they do for work, and y'all are going to answer a question here at the end, and that is Dr. Pepper overrated or underrated? And Andrea, we're going to start with you.
All right, my name is Andrea Fricarato. I am a social worker for hospice, and I'm going to say that Dr. Pepper is overrated because I'm just going to go with the classic. There's other dark pops out there, Coke, Pepsi. We're going to go with those.
All right. And he's seeming to become a staple of these round tables. He was on last week for our NFL preview show. We're going to bring him back in. Bill Stoy.
What's going on, everybody? Bill Stoy's the name. For work, I do pharmaceutical sales. And then Dr. Pepper, we're going to say underrated. Andrea said it, Coke or Pepsi. It seems to always be the two that are brought up. Never really Coke, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper. So I think it's should be in that category at least. So we'll say it's underrated.
All right. Next on the list, we got Collin.
Hey, y'all. My name's Collin. I am a project engineer for a heavy highway contractor in Western Pennsylvania. And I'm going to say that Dr. Pepper is overrated because you never hear anybody ask for a Dr. Pepper and rum at the bar.
That's a solid. It's a solid point for that one. Next on the list, we got Matt.
Matt Altamore, teacher and coach at Latonia School District in beautiful Columbiana County, Ohio. I'm going to go with underrated. I have a Dr. Pepper every morning, and I have one every night. Don't drink coffee. That's what I drink. And I do order it anytime I go out, but I'm not a mixed drink guy. But anytime I do go out, I have let's see. There we go. So that's true. We got one right now.
I didn't even realize, for the listeners out there listening on Apple, Google, or Spotify, I didn't know Matt had a Dr. Pepper before we asked this question. But last but not least, rounding out our round table, we got Chris.
I'm Christopher Marsco. I am a special education teacher at Lordstown High School in southern Trumbull County. And I tell you what, you asked me this question 2-3 years ago, I'm probably saying overrated, but come to my senses, I'm kind of here with Matt. I think Dr. Pepper is underrated and packs that fire with the college football commercials. So they got my attention right now, first and foremost. So I'm picking Dr. Pepper right now.
All right. I'll answer this question too. I will say it is underrated too as well. My wife, like Chris and Matt here, she's obsessed with Dr. Pepper. It's like the only dark pop she drinks when she drinks pop. So it's always in the Bono fridge for sure. Definitely always have a Dr. Pepper on hand. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Youngstown here. And Chris, since we just started with you, we're going to have you start things off here. And, did you go to college at Youngstown State, or did you go elsewhere? And if you didn't go to YSU, what made you pick to go elsewhere?
So I started off my college career at Ohio University in Athens. At that point in time, it was kind of still a hidden secret. I think the enrollment numbers that keep breaking the record year after year, but it wasn't the popular choice when I went. It's kind of a hidden gem I found, went there for a year, lived it up, got good grades, it was time to come home, and then got real fortunate, came back to Youngstown State in 2015, and was able to be on Coach Pelini's first 3 staffs there at Youngstown State, and got my special ed degree from there, and I'm actually enrolled at YSU right now getting a CCP communications degree. So got my degree from there, have some hardware from there, and forever feel tied to Youngstown.
Absolutely. Collin, what about you?
Yeah, I went to YSU, class of 2020, the good old COVID graduating class. So that was eventful. But we overcame those challenges, and I went to school for civil engineering at YSU. So here we are.
All right. And Stoy, anybody who listened last week will know where you went, but tell the new listeners out there, did you go to YSU or not?
Did not go to YSU, was born and raised Youngstown area, but went right down the road to Kent State, go Flashes. Consider YSU really heavily, but just wanted to get a little bit further away from home, so went to Kent.
No problem at all with that. Andrea, what about you?
I went to Bethany in West Virginia for my undergrad. Don't regret the experience. Immediately regretted that gas and the hospital were 20 to 45 minutes away. I was in the middle of nowhere. So glad to come back to Youngstown. I did get my master's there. So definitely enjoyed being back home.
Us Bethanians, no one ever thinks of that, how far everything is away from Bethany, because it literally is in the middle of nowhere. For sure. I can attest to that as a Bethany alum with Andrea there. It literally is.
We did have the general store where if they didn't have it, you didn't need it. I mean, one section had like toilet seats, fishing poles, a wrench, a saw, and then you could get like an egg sandwich the next aisle over. So
absolutely,
it worked out.
Absolutely. I miss that general store sometimes because it was a smaller Walmart for everybody out there listening. Literally, if you couldn't find it there, you don't need it. But Matt, round us out here.
Yes, I graduated undergrad and my master's at Youngstown State. I actually didn't spend much time there as an undergrad. I attended college at Malone College in Canton, Ohio. I thought I was in a big city then. And then when I got done playing football, sort of like Chris, I had the opportunity to join Coach Trestle's staff. I believe I'm a bit older than probably your demographic and most of the other guests here, but got a chance to join Coach Trestle's staff for a couple years and finished my undergrad and got my master's there and kind of been around the area all my life. So
I got to tell you, Matt, with the demographic, you'd be surprised with the show. I'll tell you that much. We have a wide range here at the Ride Home Rants, and we don't discriminate against anybody here, for sure. Next, Chris, let's go back to you. Is downtown Youngstown overrated or underrated, and why?
Well, I think it's unfortunate what's going on right now with certain parts of it being kind of, I don't know, off limits or, they're doing maintenance to it. But I really think it's underrated. Even, when I was there about 10 years ago on campus, even to where it's at now, keeps coming on stronger and stronger. There's more to do. It's attracting a really large demographic. And it features a lot of the things that we're known for around here and love. I mean, you got diverse, authentic food. You got a lot of entertainment, depending on if you want to go to a concert or performing arts. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody. So I think it's becoming increasingly underrated. And honestly, it's starting to shake the rap. I kind of feel bad. I feel like sometimes Youngstown gets a bad rap because if you're not from here, you still think steel mills and Rust Belt. But it's I feel like it's starting to be pretty robust downtown.
Yeah, I grew up in a steel mill town in West Virginia. You can't beat these little towns. Youngstown's a lot bigger than my town. I'll tell you that. My town has a grand total of 1,500 people in it, so you can't beat it. But yeah, I perform a lot in Youngstown. I've done a lot of shows, comedy shows in Youngstown. I love going to Youngstown. I love it. I've done a lot in your neck of the woods, Matt, in Latonia, for sure, out there. We'll go to you next since I brought you up. Is it overrated or underrated?
I think right now it's underrated. A lot of, like what Chris said, there's a lot of things to do. I think we're coming in the cycle of, people want to do a lot of different things all at once, and you can get that in a downtown. I went through a period, not to show my age there, where Youngstown downtown really didn't change at all for about 15, 20 years there. It was the same thing, same bars, same boarded up buildings. And, it is kind of neat. My wife and I try and get there every few months. There's always something different, always something new, always something, eclectic to try. So I think it's underrated right now.
Okay. Andrea, what about you?
I'm definitely going to have to go with underrated as well. I think that like there's often times where I talk about places that are down there that people have no idea that are there, like Imbibe. That's a martini bar. They have 110 different flavors of martinis. It's a nice, elegant place. Like, I mean, I think that they've been trying to do a lot to make it a better area. They're trying to save Youngstown. And for that, I think it's underrated. A lot of people just don't want to go down there because of the rap that it has. Despite the construction right now, I think it would continue going up if it wasn't for that, the explosion, all the unfortunate things that have been happening.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of the bars there, I mean, one of my wife and I's favorite show, Bar Rescue. We love that show. Youngstown's been on there a good bit. I think some of those are still open, if I'm not mistaken. And like, you can't go wrong with that. Who doesn't like to get a good drink after a long day of work? You know what I mean? Stoy, what about you? Overrated or underrated?
Got to go underrated for sure. I mean, it seems to be having a resurgence without a doubt. You got the amphitheater down there. Cavelli, obviously go catch your football game at YSU. Just trying to mention a few other things. I think a children's museum or kind of children's thing is going on down there as well. So a lot of things to go do. Obviously, you got the restaurants, bars, and stuff, but got a lot of venues bringing in artists, comedians, stuff like that. So definitely underrated. A lot more going on down there than people think.
Collin, round us out here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the rest of the panel here. I think it's very underrated. I think 5-6 years ago there was no better place to go on the weekend if you're looking for entertainment or drinks or anything like that. I just think with the pandemic and then the construction and everything that's happened here recently, I think they're really struggling, and everybody down there is doing their best. But yeah, I'd have to say it's severely underrated, and I'm hoping they can bounce back.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to answer this one. Like I said, I've done a lot of shows in Youngstown. It's actually was considered my first quote unquote in the comedy world away game that I did outside of my hometown and in Youngstown, and I absolutely crushed it there. I love going to Youngstown. Performed at a bunch of places. Matt, you may know this one. Little hole in the wall bar, the Tipsy Cow.
Oh yeah,
it is by far one of my favorite places to perform. Anytime I see that a booker or promoter is saying, "Hey, we got this show at the Tipsy Cow," I'm like, "Please book me for that show." I love going there. The staff is amazing, the food is amazing, and the drinks are always on point. So yeah, like you said, a lot of hidden gems in Youngstown and around the city, and not to be forgotten, they still have the comedy club there in Youngstown, the Funny Stop. So definitely, like you guys said, entertainment, you can't beat it. I love going to Youngstown, and it's not too far from where I live now, so it's a quick trip for me as a comedian. I love those. I don't have to get a hotel. I can perform and get back home and sleep in my own bed, which is always nice, for sure. Chris, let's go back to you now. Did you grow up in Youngstown, or were you in one of the suburbs in Youngstown?
I was even a little further north of that. Grew up in Cortland, Ohio, in Trumbull County. Not too far from Route 11, though, so it wasn't terribly far trip for myself, probably 20-25 minutes, but it was all highway driving. But no, I mean, if you're familiar with Trumbull County, particularly the northern part, it's pretty rural. There's not much up there, and you could go down to Howland and Niles, but again, you're kind of capped in terms of what kind of entertainment you're able to tap into there. So yeah, didn't grow up in Youngstown or in a suburb necessarily, but was a frequent flyer my whole life.
I got you. Collin, what about you?
So I grew up in Coatesville Township, which if you take 422 out of the city of Youngstown and you stop just before you hit the PA line, that'll be my stomping grounds there. So I always used to tell people I grew up between Lowville and Hubbard. So the combination of those two places. And yeah, I spent quite a bit of time in Youngstown. There's not much else to do out in my neck of the woods. So when you were looking for somewhere to go, it was either Boardman or Youngstown. So
I gotcha. Andrea, what about you?
I'm going to say that I lived in Austintown, but I grew up on the west side. My parents owned a restaurant down there for a while. It was a little mom and pop place where either you grew up going to it or you've never heard of it before. Matt, I feel like you're going to be the only potential one that has known it, but it was called Molly's. And my dad was actually the first person in Youngstown to have wings. So he went down to Roscoe's to order his chicken. He was throwing the wings away, and my dad was like, I'm going to deep fry those in the 80s. And on his menus, it would say Jimmy's Famous Wings because he was the first one to have them. So very much have a good love for Youngstown. I'm tied to it.
All right, Matt, what about you?
Well, I born and raised in Columbiana County, which is in Latonia, the town, as you mentioned, home of the Tipsy Cow, but it's right on 11. It's just a 25-minute drive. Youngstown was always a big city with my parents. And Andrea, I have to say, I don't remember Molly's, but I do remember. I think I remember that sign. I think I remember that sign being there. Always remember that a long time back. So we're always going out to eat there. Growing up and finding things to do, but. Grew up going to Mill Creek Park and stuff, and it's still the big city, I guess, close to me. So, it's always been kind of hanging out around there.
All right, Stoy, round us out here.
Yeah, also one of the suburbs. I feel like the suburbs really entail Youngstown as well. So not really the in-city limits, but one of the closer suburbs for sure in Austintown.
All right. All right. So, Collin, let's go with you. We'll have you start this one. Who would you say is the most famous person from Youngstown that you know or remember?
I think I'd have to go with Mr. Mancini, Mr. Boom Boom himself. I think that's a name that everybody who grew up around Youngstown knows, regardless of your age. So, I think I'd have to say that would be my choice for that.
All right. Marsco, what about you?
It's a tough one for me because I've been able to cross paths with both of them, but as a football coach, I'm going to say Jim Tressel. Getting to meet him several times during my time as a coach there, just an incredible guy. Remembered my name after meeting him just one time. Would sit down and have a 10-minute conversation with you just about life. Just an A1 personality, A1 guy. As a Michigan fan, he kind of made my childhood a living hell, but we were able to laugh about that for a little bit and whatnot. But no, I'd say Coach Tressel, what he accomplished at Ohio State and, the impact he made coming back and, kind of getting a lot of this revival jump-started. I feel like, Youngstown kind of embodies the campus and vice versa. And some of the things he was able to do to bring that back to the forefront people's minds, I think really helped what's going on downtown. So, Coach Tress.
All right. Andrea, what about you?
Yeah, they took mine. You mentioned Tressel. Nobody has anything bad to say about him. And if you mention Boom Boo, someone's like, Boom Boom, someone's like, oh, and they have a story about him. So those are definitely the two.
Okay. Stoy, what about you?
It took two of the good ones. As far as personally, no, I thought Billy Price out there. I think it's a notable name coming out of Austintown. So knew him, kind of grew up with him, played ball with him. And then I don't want to take one of the last ones, but gotta throw Kelly Pavlik out there. I remember growing up, his fights. It seemed like obviously the city was rallying around him every time he had a big fight. I remember watching the pay-per-views and people coming over and stuff. So we'll throw that one out there as well.
Damn, Stoy, you took mine with Pavlik. Former guest of the show, one of the first guests we had on the Ride Home Rants podcast was Kelly Pavlik. He was going to be mine, but Matt, round us out here.
Wow, I had the chance to work with Coach Tressel, like you guys said. Not so much anymore, but it used to be, depending upon what circles you went or what conversation you were having. Trafficking would always come up, no matter where you're at, what state and what region. You say, "Oh, Youngstown, what's up with the trafficking guy?" So I'd probably go with that one just because it hasn't been said. But, there's no denying, the contributions that, Coach Truss and, Boom Boom, like you said, pretty famous. And, of course, if I'm the last one, I guess I can pull out Ed O'Neill, too, because everybody knows him. And everybody mentions that, too. So.
Absolutely. A lot of solid names. Like, people don't realize the amount of people that actually came out of Youngstown and that area. It's phenomenal to see. Matt, we're going to stay with you on this one. If someone was coming from out of town and asked you what 3 things you'd recommend for them to do in Youngstown or in the suburbs, what are your recommendations for them?
Number one, I'd recommend, I know Andrea had family, but I got family that runs and owns the MVR in Youngstown. They got to get a bite to eat, get some authentic Italian down at the MVR restaurant. That's got to be number one. And number 2, they got to check out Mill Creek Park. There's so many things to do just there. You could spend a whole day. And you know what? Number 3, oh boy, that's a tough one. Those are the first 2. I thought you were going to only ask me 2, so I was prepared for 2. But realistically, there are a lot of independent, small mom and pop shops. Just take a day to stroll, and maybe away from the strip malls in Boardman. There's a lot of nice niche stores that you can get to with friendly people that are not off the beaten path, so to speak. So that's kind of what I'm going to go with.
All right, Stoy, what's your 3 recommendations?
I feel lucky I get to go one of the early ones here. We're going to take some good picks. We'll throw White House Fruit Farm out there. I think go get the blueberry donut. They always got a ton of events going on in the fall. Go pick your own strawberries, blueberries, stuff like that. So cool day to spend, or cool place to spend a day in the fall or really throughout the year. I'll throw one out there. I'm not sure if everyone's going to know about it, but Jimmy's Italian Specialties. It's an Italian imported Italian store. Got deli, bakery, stuff like that. A ton of imported meats and great scratch-made deli and stuff like that. So great place to go for lunch, grab some stuff for the holidays, stock up there, and then we'll say go catch a YSU game. I think that it really embodies Youngstown. Maybe go to MVR before. I can name some other places, but a ton of great places around Youngstown, and then go catch a football game.
All right. Andrea, what about you?
Well, I would say there's a new place in Austintown that I just love. I joke that I pay their electric bill there every month because I buy coffee so much there, but it's called Junie's Cafe. It's new. They just opened up in January, but they are all about Youngstown, supporting small businesses. So I would say that go for a walk, in Mill Creek Park, or go down for Saturday of the month. They have the Youngstown Flea Market. And I know I'm kind of making this too easy, but then just go downtown, find any place to eat down there. There's a lot of small businesses. Just support local all the way around.
All right. Marsco, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of feel what Story was saying here about going last. I'm going to kind of be repeating a lot of things. I'm
trying to mix it up, give everyone a fair chance here.
No. It's good. I think it speaks toward how great some of these things are. But if I had to pick 3, I'm going to Matt's family's place. I'm going to the MVR. Had a chance to try just about everything there, being on staff as long as I was, and I could sit there and eat for quite a while. It's a great place, good big menu. Then I'm definitely going to check out a YSU event. Tailgating, I think, kind of ties into that. Having traveled around a couple places, there aren't many people that tailgate like we do in this area. I think that's kind of unique to us too, that we only know one way to do it here. But when you go other places, it's like, wow, we're either really cool or degenerates. But either way, it seems like it's awesome. So, and then, I'm finishing up, like Andrew said, I'm going downtown, probably getting a couple slices at the Avalon, bar hopping, hitting up O'Donnell's for old time's sake, so just bouncing around, living up, taking in whatever's downtown that night.
All right.
I hate to break your heart, but O'Donnell's closed.
Jeez.
So we have no more O'Donnell's in the area.
In Trumbull County.
Way to crush everyone's dreams, Andrea.
But you can go down to Whistle and Keg, where you get the little, you give them your credit card and they put it on a wristband, and then you can serve yourself beer, wine. So
It's dangerous, though.
try
If I'm
Whistle.
not looking at the card, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing.
Goes to the degenerate part. So
Yep.
That's dangerous for sure. Collin, round us out on this one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to beat this dead horse, but I'm definitely going with spending the day in Mill Creek. That'd definitely be one of my top suggestions. Catching an event at YSU or maybe a show downtown at the Dior. And then you definitely got to make the time to go get yourself a slice of Avalon pizza. I tell that to all my out-of-town friends that come in. You got to make the time.
All right. And in the interest of making it fair, and because Stoy kind of brought this up, and I know where his mind's going to go on this one, but Collin, we're going to stay with you. From a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how do you rank Jimmy's Italian specialties on Belmont?
Oh, I think you got to rank it a 10. I don't know if there's anywhere that does it quite like Jimmy's.
Okay. Marsco.
Oh, it's a 10. I've had the opportunity to work with, some of the owners there for various fundraising things, and definitely made my stops in there. And there's just really, there's nothing really like it around here unless you want to go to a flea market or up to Cleveland. I mean, we're really, we're fortunate to have a store like that around here. Somebody that, the Italian dinners made by mom and grandma and all that are big. They always, got to get the stuff from Jimmy's. So still eat Jimmy's raviolis at my in-laws on Christmas. So 10.
You can't beat a mom or a grandma Italian dinner and anywhere, no matter where you go. But Andrea, what about you? Where are you ranking Jimmy's?
I gotta rank it a 10 as well. I know it seems biased, but the different flavors of cannolis and everything that they have, like if I'm out there for work and it's lunchtime, that's what I'm getting.
I think you mentioned it before. I was going to be performing at the Funny Stop, and you're like, you need to go get a cannoli at Jimmy's before you perform. I was like, I can't eat a cannoli before I go on stage. I might get it for after, but that's gonna ruin the whole set. I get a couple cannolis in me, and it's going to be downhill from there for me.
I mean, no offense. I was just at the Briar Hill Festival, and they had cannolis there, but it was just like your plain typical cannoli, which is great. You gotta love a classic, but why not go try like 16 different flavors of cannolis?
Right.
That's like an Italian dream.
Absolutely. Stoy, I think we know where you're going with this when you just mentioned them in the last question.
Yeah, I feel like I got gypped on the last question. You want to give him a shout. But I got to see it up close and personal. That was my first job there in high school. Started on my 16th birthday and worked for 3 or 4 years for them. So place is legit. It's a 10. Yeah, they do everything. They're versatile. Great people that own it, great people that work there. Always an enjoyable experience for sure.
All right, Matt, round us out. Where are you ranking Jimmy's?
I got to rank it not ranked. I'm going to have to try it out. I have actually never been to Jimmy's on Belmont. Yeah, I have never been. I know it's been there. I've never heard a bad word. I come from family. We do the Feast of the Fishes on Christmas and everything. I mean, I've carried that through, but our family's kind of been, well, you get this from here, you get this from here, you get this from here. And I've kind of just been carrying that out. I've never done a one-stop shop for my Italian thing. So, pepperoncinis I got to get from here. The, bakla you got to get from here. The cannolis you got to get from here. So yeah, I'm going to have to try and check it out. Might make my life a little bit easier.
I unfortunately have never gotten to eat at Jimmy's when I've gone to the Youngstown. And, with that being said, I might have to tell my parents, because we still do the Feast of the Seven Fishes on Christmas Eve, but they always go to the Strip District in Pittsburgh to get it. And you know what? It's the same distance from where they live to Youngstown it is to Pittsburgh. So maybe it's time to try, mix it up a little bit.
and that's
try
where,
it out.
Yeah, we go to the Strip District too. That's where, but we'll have to try it out, like you said.
Absolutely. We'll stay with you on this one, Matt. Youngstown unfortunately had to cancel their Italian festival downtown this year. But have you ever been in previous years? And if so, what did you think of it?
I have been to the Italian Fest in Youngstown. the Louisville Festival is just across the way near Coatesville. That's where you can see the famous baby doll dance. So I try to get to there all the time. Then you just have the Briar Hill Festival that Andrea said, but also, any chance you can get up there to get a St. Anthony's pizza, that's pretty good too. So I've been to most of the Italian festivals over the years around. It's kind of a shame the actual Italian Fest got canceled, but hopefully it comes back here in a year or two, even better than ever.
Absolutely. I've been meaning to make it to that Louisville. We highlight them every year. We talk about them for the past 4 years that we've been doing the Ride Home Rants podcast. We talk about the Louisville Italian Festival, and it just never fails. Every time they have it, I'm just like, I'm booked that week. I gotta be out doing shows. I can't make it. But I promise them, like, one year I'm going to book a week in Youngstown during the Italian Festival in Louisville, and I will be there. But Stoy, what about you? What the Italian Fest?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like any fest in Youngstown's an Italian fest. Got the Louisville Fest, Briar Hill Fest, Mount Carmel Fest, a ton of them, and they're all awesome. The one you're talking about downtown, unfortunate, it did get canceled, but was the question overrated, underrated, rated? I'll say it's great. It's an absolutely great fest down there. Youngstown, you got a ton of great Italian people. So you good Italian people all coming together. You good food, good time, a ton of good music and stuff like that. So always a good time there.
All right, Andrea, what about you?
Yeah, definitely unfortunate, just like everybody else said. I like it because I think that they all do something a little bit different. I haven't been to the Louisville one. I think I got yelled at for that on the Italian roundtable talk.
You did.
So definitely definitely have to get out there. But they do different stuff. I know that they've had like pageants for like kids there for people who are Italian, and they can, write a letter and compete and, win money for scholarships. So I think it's different, and it's neat. So hopefully that'll be back sooner rather than later.
All right, Marsko, what about you?
I was hoping we were able to count the Louisville Festival as a Youngstown festival.
No, we're not.
Yeah, see, I've frequented the Louisville one. I've made stops at the the Briar Hill, the one downtown, whatnot. Unfortunately, but like Andrea said, they all kind of provide you with something different. Getting to compete in some of the Italian fests in the area where I'm at, I always, when I go to a different one, I always love watching bocce. More different, us Italians love to compete. Everyone mentions the food and the music and, BSing with each other, but nothing like more getting up in each other's face, screaming, spitting on each other. So, they're underrated. They're all great. Again, kind of like I mentioned with the tailgating, it's just something, I'm sure they happen in other places, but I feel like we're a cut above the rest here. We're special.
All right. Collin, round us out here.
Yeah, so growing up where I did and going to school in Louisville, the Louisville Festival was a pretty big deal for us. So I usually frequented there. I think I can safely say I've only been to the festival downtown one time since I was able to drive myself places. I was definitely a frequent flyer at the Louisville Festival, but it's a shame that they had to cancel. Hopefully they're able to get it back for next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I love a good Italian festival. You can't beat it anywhere you go, anywhere in the country. It seems like when you have an Italian festival, it's just good people, good food, very loud. No matter where you're at, it's loud. Us paisans, we're a loud bunch. So, for sure. You know what, Andrea? I feel like you've been, getting snubbed and being in the middle here. So we're going to start with you on this one here. I know you kind of like to wait, but we're going to make you go first. I feel like this is a toss-up for you. People may not know, but Youngstown has a lot of great places to have concerts between downtown venues and the university. Have you ever been to a concert in Youngstown? And if so, who did you see and where at?
Gosh, well, this is easy because I've never been to them. So very short answer.
Oh,
I just haven't. I know. I know they hold some like inside Cavelli and they have the amphitheater outside. I've never been to one. I'm not a big concert goer. So sorry, that was a disappointment for you guys.
I let you go first, and that's what you give me, Andrea. But all right, Matt, let's go to you.
Wow. Well, let's see if this fits in your demographic here, but probably the only concerts I've seen in Youngstown in the last 10, 15 years have been Disney-based, Disney on Ice and Disney concerts that they've had. We're going back a long time ago. We used to go see concerts in the up and coming bands at a place called the Varsity Club, which was uptown. For $2, I got to see some bands that eventually made it semi-big. So that was kind of good, but that was a long time ago and many years ago. So, yeah, it's just been Disney stuff for a long time.
You're right. I have a son. I get it. You see a lot of those when they're younger, for sure. Stoy, what about you?
Can't say I've seen too many either, but if we're talking bands, I'll shout out RDNA. I've seen them down at the amphitheater and quite a few different bars and stuff. So we'll shout out them as a band, but haven't seen too many concerts in Youngstown actually.
Okay, Collin.
Yeah, so I've been to quite a few concerts in Youngstown. Actually, I've been to Stambaugh Stadium, Auditorium. I've been to the Cavelli Center, the new amphitheater. I'm gonna have to say my favorite ever. If anybody's a fan of country music, Zach Brown Band performed at YSU Stadium. That was probably the coolest concert experience I've had in a long time, and I've been to see Kenny Chesney in downtown Pittsburgh, so that says a lot.
Yeah, you don't realize how Chesney fans will treat a town until he comes into town in Pittsburgh.
It's a little bit intense.
You're like, oh, it's a country concert. It's gonna be fine. No, it's not. It's not gonna be okay at all. He brings a rowdy bunch, but Marsco, round us out here.
I was trying to think of this chronologically so I didn't miss any. The first really big concert I remember going to in Youngstown was at Stambaugh Auditorium. It was a little-known country band at the time called Florida Georgia Line. I think I paid $20 to sit at a very nice viewing area, and I think it was less than 6 months later they were on the CMAs winning awards, and I think I got one of the last $20 tickets you could get to go see them. So that was a really cool way to start it off. I think that was like my senior year of high school. Saw Zach Brown and Blake Shelton at Stambaugh Stadium. It's a really cool venue for an outdoor one. Took my mom for one of her birthdays to the Cavelli Center to see Rod Stewart. That was pretty cool. I was kicking soccer balls out into the crowd. I didn't know that was a thing. Yes, he had a professional soccer career, so that was unique. And then, me and she was my girlfriend at the time, but my now wife, we went to the amphitheater for one of their early shows, and we got to see Brett Eldridge there. Gave me a lot of fond memories. So gotten to sample a little bit of all the venues. And they each kind of offer their own thing. I don't really know if I could pick one from the other, but again, very blessed. We got all these places to have all these wonderful things, and I feel like we take it for granted sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're winding down here. These ones should be pretty quick here, but Collin, we're going to start with you. What's the one best thing about Youngstown?
I think I'd have to go with the people. I don't think you'll find a closer knit, more robust and diverse group of people anywhere else, or at least nothing like Youngstown. So I think that's what I'd have to say.
All right, Marsco.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go with this, but I got to reiterate what Collin said. I met my wife in the main tailgate lot outside the stadium. The amount of people that, hey, you help out with football. Hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Just a bunch of people that want to help other people and make the area great. It's a lot of positivity. Like when we were making our run to the title game, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just palpable. You feel the fanfare. We really galvanize together, and it's people.
Okay. Andrea, what about you?
Obviously, I agree with them with the people, but I'm gonna say the food as well. And actually, I feel bad that I didn't mention this, but Handles is like such a staple. That's definitely top 3 to do while you're here. I'm sitting in the parking lot, so. But yeah, people say New York has the best pizza. Youngstown has the best pizza for sure. So food.
All right, Stoy.
She took mine. Really, I was gonna specifically say the pizza though. I mean, the people great, food in general great, but Youngstown pizza, it's I think starting to get a little notoriety going around. But I know Avalon was mentioned. Got to throw Wedgwood pizza out there is one of the best. Plenty of others for sure. Hopefully, I'm not jumping the gun on a pizza question coming up, but definitely got to mention. Got to mention the Youngstown pizza. Then give it some love.
Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how the last question goes here. But Matt, what about you on this one? One best thing in Youngstown?
I'm going to have to say the history. You guys are all talking about the people and the diversity in that, but, to go through the ups and downs and the twists and turns, I'm going to have to say the history of Youngstown for being a mid-sized city. Really appreciative and just really unique.
All right. And last question that we have here, Matt, we'll start with you on this one. The one best restaurant in the city of Youngstown is
MVR.
Yeah. That kind of had a feeling that was where you were going on that one. But Stoy.
Oh, so many good ones. If I had to go with one, we'll kind of take a cheat code and say bogeys and double bogeys. Bogeys out kind of towards your way, Collin, out towards Coatesville, Lowville area. I like going out there after playing some golf and no run or something. Then double bogeys over in Boardman. Good food, good atmosphere. So many good ones, though.
All right. Andrea, what about you?
This one's super, super hard, but I'm going to say Aquapaz. That's a pretty authentic Italian place, and they make their own noodles and stuff. So I really like them. You're paying for the atmosphere, but great food.
Okay. Marsco.
Mahoning Valley Restaurant. MVR all the way. And but I also want to throw out a little hole in the wall. We got a lot of wings there. We got the Blackberry Barbecue, the Royal Oaks. It was one of those bars, I believe it was on Bar Rescue. Right off the exit, good little hole in the wall.
All right. Collin, round us out here.
I'm going to have to go with Golden Dawn for mine. Not a lot of, if you're from Youngstown, you know all about it, but if you're not from here, it definitely could be easily missed. Definitely worth the time and quintessential Youngstown.
All right. Well, that is actually the last question I have here for this All Things Youngstown episode. And as you can hear in the background, probably my son is getting a little routed because it's about feeding time. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this episode up here with the All Things Youngstown. I want to thank my guests, Chris, Matt, Collin, Andrea, and as always, he's been a staple of the Roundtables, Bill Stoy. Thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate you taking time out of your evening to sit and talk with me about all things Youngstown, and where you guys are from. This was a lot of fun. But as always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week.
The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by W Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but This is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rock it on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.